Welcome to The Deep Dive. Today we're getting into something really fascinating and, well, maybe a bit unsettling if you spend much time online. The dead internet theory.
hmm
Basically, it's this idea that a huge chunk of the internet isn't really human anymore.
Yeah, that it's dominated by bots, AI stuff, maybe even aiming to manipulate us.
Exactly. And maybe you felt this, scrolling through endless repetitive comments, seeing articles that just feel off.
Or just the sheer amount of stuff online, right?
Yeah.
Making it hard to find genuine human connection sometimes.
Yeah.
That's kind of the feeling this theory taps into.
So in this deep dive, we want to unpack that, look at the theory, the claims, what the evidence looks like.
We're mainly using the Wikipedia page on the dead internet theory as our guide here. It lays out the origins, the core ideas, expert takes, the evidence.
Right, sort of a roadmap for us. The mission is really to explore this thing, see what holds up, what experts think, and just get a clearer picture. So where did this actually start? It sounds pretty out there.
Well, the Wikipedia page traces it back to some maybe less mainstream corners of the web. Forums like Agora Roads, Macintosh Cafe, also Wizard Chan.
Okay.
But a key moment seems to be this post in 2021, someone using the name Illumina Pirate on Agora Road.
Illumina to pirate. Okay.
Yeah. The post was called Dead Internet Theory. Most of the internet is fake. And that really seemed to pull together earlier threads and give the whole thing a name, make it more concrete, at least within those online spaces.
So it kind of bubbled up from these niche communities. How did it jump from there to, wider awareness?
It looks like a couple of things helped push it out. Wikipedia points to a big piece in The Atlantic. The headline was something like, maybe you missed it, but the internet died 5 years ago.
Oh, I think I remember seeing that circulate.
Yeah, that seemed to really resonate with people. It became a kind of touchstone. And then, YouTubers, other online creators started talking about it, bringing it to bigger audiences.
Interesting trajectory. Okay, let's dig into the actual claims.
Well, cool.
What is this theory really saying at its core? It sounds kind of dark.
It basically has two main parts, right? First, the idea that real organic human activity online is just being swamped, pushed aside by bots and um, algorithmically generated content.
Like our feeds and recommendations shaping everything.
Exactly. Proponents argue that this algorithmic curation is now so dominant, it's basically sidelining actual human voices.
Okay, that's one part. What's the second?
The second part is, well, maybe the more disturbing bit. It suggests this isn't just happening randomly.
Uh-oh.
It proposes there's a deliberate, coordinated effort, maybe by governments. The theory originally pointed fingers at the U.S. government specifically, or big corporations, other powerful groups,
An effort to do what?
to flood the internet with this fake artificial content, specifically to manipulate people.
Manipulate how? What's the goal?
The underlying motive, often suggested, according to Wikipedia, is basically population control. That original Illuminated Pirate post even called it an AI-powered gaslighting of the entire world population.
Wow. Gaslighting the world. That's quite a claim.
It is. The idea is if you control the information environment, what people see online, you can heavily influence how they think, how they behave. It's a powerful and, yeah, pretty chilling thought.
Definitely raises flags. Let's focus on that first bit for a second, the sheer amount of bot content. Is there any basis for thinking we're just drowning in non-human stuff online?
Yeah, there's definitely a concern there. Proponents look at the insane volume of content created daily and basically ask, can humans really be making all this?
Right.
That original post even mentioned a New York Magazine article, how much of the internet is fake. Turns out a lot of it, actually, which already pointed to this problem of fake content being widespread. The dead internet theory sort of takes that and runs with it, saying it's not just widespread, it's dominant now.
And there's this other claim, isn't there, about search engines like Google being involved, maybe censoring the web.
The argument there is that search engines aren't giving us the full picture. They're filtering, maybe downranking certain things, controlling what actually gets indexed and shown in results.
So you search for something, get millions of hits, but you only really see a tiny fraction.
Kind of. The theory suggests what you see is a carefully curated slice, maybe serving some hidden agenda. They use that Potemkin village analogy.
All right, the fake village front.
Exactly. Wikipedia mentions it. Like the searchable web looks huge and open, but it's actually a constructed facade hiding. Well, maybe something much smaller or more controlled.
And link rot plays into this too, websites disappearing.
Yeah, they bring that up as well. The increasing problem of old content vanishing, links breaking. The theory suggests maybe this isn't just neglect, but could be part of a deliberate effort to limit access to older information, control the narrative over time. Makes you think about what digital history will even look like.
It really does. Okay, so these are some pretty big claims. What do actual experts, people who study the internet and society, make of all this? Is it just seen as a wild conspiracy theory?
Well, the Wikipedia page gives some nuanced views. Carolyn Busta from New Models, she apparently called a lot of it a paranoid fantasy.
Okay, so pretty dismissive.
But, and this is interesting, she also agreed with the overarching idea. She acknowledged real problems with bot traffic, with the integrity of the internet. So dismiss the big conspiracy, maybe, but recognize the underlying symptoms.
Gotcha. So even if the whole government plot thing seems far-fetched to her, she sees the core issue of bots and fake stuff.
Seems like it. And then there's Robert Mariani writing in the New Atlantis. He had a pretty evocative description, called it a mix of a genuine conspiracy theory and a creepypasta.
Like an online horror story.
Yeah, exactly. Suggesting it blends real anxieties about the internet's direction with maybe more sensational, even fictional elements. It shows how tricky it is to untangle genuine concerns from, well, maybe just good storytelling in this space.
That's a useful way to think about it. The Wikipedia page also mentions the term itself, dead internet theory, is kind of evolving, especially recently in 2024.
Yeah, that's right. Lately, you see the term being used maybe less conspiratorially. Sometimes it's just shorthand for describing the, well, undeniable rise of content made by large language models, LLMs, like ChatGPT.
Ah, so less about a secret plot, more about just the sheer amount of AI content out there now.
Pretty much. In that sense, it's more about observing the reality of AI text, AI images, AI video even, becoming a really significant part of what you encounter online. It's a subtle shift, but an important one in how the phrase is used.
Okay, that makes sense. The technology is changing so fast, the language adapts.
So let's get into the evidence section on Wikipedia. What sorts of things do people point to when they argue for this theory, whether the full conspiracy or just the lots of bots version?
Well, a huge one is large language models themselves, LLMs.
Exactly. The page explains how these tools, like the GPT series, have gotten incredibly good at generating text that, honestly, you often can't tell apart from human writing.
Mm-hmm.
It even cites this really striking prediction from 2022. Timothy Shoup, from the Copenhagen Institute for Future Studies, he suggested that if GPT-3, which was cutting edge then, really got loose, we could see something like 99 to 99.9% of all online content being AI generated.
Wait, 99%?
Yeah, by maybe 2025 to 2030. That kind of forecast really paints a picture where human stuff is just completely overwhelmed, doesn't it? What would that even feel like, an internet that's almost entirely non-human?
I can barely wrap my head around that. It's, yeah, staggering. And it sounds like even the big players, like Google, are noticing the impact already.
For sure. Wikipedia mentions that in 2024, Google actually said publicly that its search results were getting inundated.
Inundated with what?
With websites that seem built just to game the search rankings,
Yeah.
not necessarily to be useful to people. SEO-focused junk, basically.
Ah, spammy sites.
Right. And a Google spokesperson apparently told Gizmodo that generative AI is fueling a lot of this low-quality optimized content and is potentially pushing out genuinely valuable human-made stuff. So Google itself sees this AI-driven content explosion happening.
So Google's fighting this wave of AI spam. And there was something else mentioned, this idea of bots just talking to each other in loops.
Yeah, that's another concern highlighted. That as these LLM bots get smarter and more numerous, they might start creating these self-replicating prompts.
Meaning?
Like one bot generates something, another bot reacts to that, generates something else, and they just go back and forth, creating endless streams of automated chatter that humans aren't involved in and maybe can't even easily stop. Kind of an internet talking to itself.
Huh. That's a weird image. And then, of course, ChatGPT itself. How did its release fit into this dead internet narrative?
Well, ChatGPT hitting the public scene in late 2022 was apparently a big moment. Wikipedia notes it made the whole dead internet idea feel much more real, more plausible for a lot of ordinary people.
Because suddenly everyone could try it.
Exactly. Before that, powerful AI content generation felt like something only big companies or researchers could do.
Yeah.
ChatGPT put a really capable LLM in everyone's hands, basically.
Right.
And that led to immediate speculation. Okay, now the floodgates are really going to open. That this would massively speed up the creation of AI content and potentially drown out human voices like never before. It just lowered the barrier to entry so much.
It really put the tool in everyone's toolbox, for better or worse.
Okay.
Shifting slightly, The theory also leans heavily on just the raw volume of automated traffic online, right? Is there actual data on how much of internet traffic isn't human?
Yes, and the numbers cited on the page are pretty eye-opening. Back in 2016, the cybersecurity company Imperva reported that bots' automated programs made up 52% of all web traffic,
Over half.
over half. More automated activity than human activity online, even back then. And a more recent Imperva report from 2023 still had automated traffic at nearly half, 49.6%.
Still almost half. Wow.
And they noted part of the recent rise was likely due to AI models scraping the web constantly for training data. So yeah, nearly half the traffic not being human.
Hmm.
That's a pretty solid data point for anyone arguing the internet feels less human, wouldn't you say?
No kidding. That's huge. Okay, let's look at specific platforms. Facebook comes up in relation to this theory. What's been going on there?
Well, in 2024, there was this noticeable surge on Facebook of what people started calling AI slop.
AI slop. That doesn't sound good.
No, it refers to this low quality, sometimes nonsensical AI generated imagery that would go viral for some reason. The page mentions things like shrimp Jesus variations.
Shroom Jesus.
Yeah, apparently. And these images would get tons of comments, often just amen, repeated over and over, suspected to be largely automated. These are pointed to as examples of that dead internet feel or content that's popular but feels hollow or artificial.
Makes sense. Weird, viral, maybe bot-driven stuff. And isn't Facebook itself adding more AI into interactions?
Yes, they have a feature now where AI can generate replies in groups, either if someone tags it Meta AI or if a question just sits there unanswered by a human for an hour.
Okay.
But maybe more significantly, Meta, the parent company, announced plans in January 2025 for totally new AI-powered autonomous accounts.
Autonomous accounts, like AI profiles.
Yeah, with their own bios, profile pics, and the ability to just generate and share content on their own. A Meta VP, Connor Hayes, apparently said they expect these AIs to exist on our platforms kind of in the same way that accounts do.
Whoa.
That announcement definitely got people talking about the dead internet theory again.
Yeah.
What happens when AI accounts are just part of the landscape like human ones?
That really does blur the lines, doesn't it? Autonomous AI posting alongside people. Okay, what about Reddit? That feels like a very human, community-driven place usually. How does it fit in?
Well, Reddit used to have a free API, which is great for third-party mod tools, but also critically for AI companies scraping discussions to train their models.
Right, feeding the AI beast with Reddit data.
Pretty much. Then in 2023, Reddit decided to start charging for that API access. Now, AI companies are still expected to use Reddit data, they'll just likely pay for it. But this change, plus more and more reports of users and bots using things like ChatGPT on Reddit, it's raising concerns.
Concerns about what specifically?
A big one, mentioned by Professor Toby Walsh, is this idea of model collapse, or AI learning from AI. If future AIs are trained mostly on content generated by today's AIs,
So you get copies of copies, maybe losing quality?
potentially, yeah, a kind of degradation loop. And another academic, Professor John Liccato, apparently drew a direct line between this situation on Reddit, the increasing AI presence, and the dead internet theory itself, suggesting even these human-centric platforms aren't immune.
Like a digital Ouroboros eating its own AI tail. Okay, Twitter or X. That platform's bot problem has been headline news, especially around the Musk takeover. How does that feed the theory?
Oh, hugely. The whole debate about what percentage of Twitter accounts were actually bots was central to the acquisition drama, wasn't it?
Musk disputed their 5% claim.
Right. He questioned Twitter's long-stated figure and even got outside firms involved. Estimates varied. Some were low, some went up to maybe 14% or so.
Which is still a lot of bots.
It is. And while, sure, some bots do useful things, many are known for spreading misinformation, running scams, artificially boosting posts. So for dead internet theory believers, the ongoing visible bot problem on a major platform like X is seen as, like, Exhibit A.
Yeah, the uncertainty and the obvious presence of bots there definitely fuels that narrative. What about TikTok? How does that platform figure in?
For TikTok, the connection mentioned on Wikipedia relates to virtual influencers.
AI personalities.
Essentially, yeah. In 2024, TikTok was reportedly talking about offering these AI-generated characters to advertisers, so brands could use completely artificial personalities to market products.
Ah,
Michael Grovehouse, writing for Fast Company, called this kind of thing AI slime, linking it directly back to the dead internet theory's concerns about authenticity, arguing it adds to an online world feeling increasingly fake.
AI slime, another lovely term. It's definitely part of that blurring line between real and fake online personas. Now, even YouTube gets mentioned. Something about the inversion. What's that?
The inversion was apparently this specific worry among YouTube engineers. It relates to the huge market for fake views, fake engagement on videos.
People buying views.
Exactly. It got so bad, the concern was that YouTube's own algorithms, the ones designed to detect fake views, might get confused.
How so?
The fear was the algorithm might see so many fake views, it would start treating that as the baseline, as normal. And then it might actually misclassify real human views as somehow suspicious or abnormal.
Wow, the system turning itself inside out because of the fakes.
Kinda, yeah. And this potential for YouTube's core systems to be distorted by fake activity, this has been cited on forums like Melonland as more evidence supporting the dead internet theory.
So even the platforms are struggling to tell real from fake at scale. Lastly, Wikipedia mentions an app called Social AI. The name alone seems relevant.
Right. Social AI launched in September 2024, and its whole premise is, well, kind of stark. It's an app where you only interact with AI bots.
No humans at all.
Nope, by design.
Yeah.
Zero human-to-human interaction. An article in Ars Technica explicitly linked social AI to the dead internet theory, suggesting, maybe this is the logical endpoint. If you believe the internet's already mostly bots, just lean into it, create a space where that's the whole point.
Wow, an app for the dead internet, almost. That really crystallizes the idea. And it sounds like this whole concept, dead internet theory, it's not just lurking on obscure forums anymore, it's out in the open.
Definitely seems that way. The Wikipedia page points out it's being discussed pretty widely now. On Twitter and YouTube communities, it mentions Linus Tech Tips forums, the Joe Rogan subreddit, even on TikTok.
So it's percolated into the mainstream conversation.
Yeah, the fact that this idea, which started pretty fringe, is now popping up on major platforms suggests it's definitely captured some part of the public imagination, or at least reflects a widespread anxiety.
Okay, so let's try and wrap this up. We've gone through the dead internet theory, seen where it came from, these niche forums, how it spread. We looked at the core claims, humans being displaced by bots, maybe deliberate manipulation.
And we looked at expert views, some seeing it as paranoid fantasy, others agreeing there are real underlying issues with bots and internet integrity, even if they dismiss the grand conspiracy. And that maybe the term itself is shifting to just describe the rise of AI content.
Right, and then we dove into all the evidence people point to. The power of LLMs, those startling bot traffic stats, the specific things happening on Facebook with AI swap, Reddit training data issues, the Twitter bot wars, TikTok's virtual influencers, YouTube's inversion fears.
And even that social AI app designed for bot-only interaction.
Yeah.
It's a lot of different pieces that, woven together, paint this picture of an increasingly artificial online world. The debate is really about the scale and the intent behind it all, isn't it?
Exactly. It definitely gives you, the listener, a different frame for thinking about your own time online, doesn't it?
It really does. And maybe this leaves us with a final thought for you to chew on. As AI keeps getting better, keeps integrating more deeply into everything we do online, and these lines between human-made and AI-made content get blurrier and blurrier, what does that actually mean for us?
Yeah. What are the long-term effects?
How will it change how we connect with people, how we learn things, how we even understand what's real online? And, what responsibility do platforms have? What responsibility do we have as users to try and keep the digital world, meaningful,
Yeah.
genuine?
Definitely something to mull over next time you're scrolling. It's a complex picture, and it feels like we're right in the middle of it unfolding.